BTN, 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 BTN.
Guys, welcome to another wonderful episode of Behind the Name, episode 89.
Woo!
89. Well, we close. We close. We like hella close, dog.
I swear I'm hitting around on 100.
Oh,
We kicking the show off with a session.
And we have another special guest in the building with us tonight. One of the first people that I seen that was consistent, you know what I'm saying, in Chicago footwork culture, elsewhere, not in Chicago, but elsewhere in LA, you know what I'm saying? Dancer, writer, also has his own podcast, Drinking and Dance at the End of the World, representing Creation Global, my brethren. You know what I'm saying? Give it up for Rob C.
Hey,
Going on, Brody. And happy belated birthday, too, because I didn't say it.
Happy belated, bro.
You know what I'm saying? When your birthday, what was it? May? When was it? May what?
That was May 7th.
May 7th. You're a Taurus, right?
Yep. Hard in the paint, Taurus. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Budilla. Chris J-Ron, it is a pleasure and honor to be on this show. I swear y'all must have run out of people because now I'm here. That's
funny.
That is a huge honor. Look, no, Budilla sent me a message going, "Hey, do you want to come on the show?" And I'm like, I gotta. I'm gonna finish crying and then I will reply to this.
Right.
So yeah.
Oh man, we
man.
I want
this right here. I don't think people really understand how crucial this episode is, and how much this paved the way on what's going on today in the culture. And man, before we even get into all that, we just wanna get started. You know what I'm saying? We want to go dead in on this because there's a few stuff I definitely want to talk about. So first, real quick, what before you got into creation and all of that, real quick, what was a little bit about your upbringings and your first time seeing Chicago footwork and for the first time?
All right, so I was born and raised in Iowa. So for those who don't know their basic U.S. geography, I don't blame you. Nobody knows where this state is, but it's actually right next to Illinois. I did not dance growing up. Where I came from, I was in a town that was 98% white. If you were a dude and you were dancing, that was considered suspect. There's a lot of homophobia, a lot of toxic male bullshit. So my sisters would dance. I always thought dancing was cool, but like I had to do something manly. So I was doing martial arts for like the first 12, 15 years. I got into dance, honestly, because I was overseas in Japan for a year. And because I was in college, I was trying to get the hell out of the US. I was in Japan and my Japanese was not good enough that I could like do acting because I was a theater kid before I ever did dance as well. So I was like, okay, well, what can I do for like the social clubs? And the biggest club on campus was a street dance society, essentially. So you have all these Japanese kids who were doing locking, they were doing breaking, they were doing popping, house, femme styles, all sorts of shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were doing it to this level that I had never seen in America. Like they were so polished, they were so clean, and they were so into it. Like they would spend all night practicing. Like we'd have crew practice, and then they would go out to the like once the campus closed, they'd go out to like storefronts at night and just dance in front of the windows until like 4 a.m. I don't know how these people slept. It was insane. So I got inspired by that. I changed my major when I came back to the US. And then there was a 2011, a world what was it? No, 2010 World of Dance in Chicago.
Wait, hold on. How long was you in Japan, bro?
I was in Japan for a year.
Okay.
And then I came back, I switched my major to dance. I started learning like all sorts of like Eurocentric styles of movement. So ballet, modern, hated that shit, but I needed to do it to get my degree because of racism, you know, because they don't, at that time, it's changing now in the professional, like academic dance world. But at that time, if you did African dance, if you did street styles of any sort, anything created by Black culture, you would get maybe an hour or two worth of credit towards a degree. But to get that degree, you needed to do ballet or modern.
Wow.
So in 2010, like if you were in the like professional track, like you needed to do those styles. Everything else was considered like a cute little bonus.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So nowadays it's different. Like shout out to Moncel Il Cosby out in Los Angeles, because he teaches at, oh my God, UCLA. I believe he's a professor at UCLA, and he is like their dance program. Like you can get a degree just doing street styles. So,
Dang.
yeah, I went off on a tangent there, but I came back, got my degree, went out. Before I moved to Los Angeles, I went to Chicago to take part in a battle for World of Dance 2010. And you know, they were doing the performances on the main stage. I didn't care about that. I was there to like battle. So I got knocked out in the first, like in the preliminaries, because I was garbage. Like I'm totally comfortable saying that. I was absolute garbage at that point. Didn't have any foundation, right? I was trying to learn 5 different styles at once.
Right.
But I stayed around to watch the final battle. And the final battle was between this cat named Kid Soul from Detroit, and he was a popper. And his opponent was one King Charles from Chicago, doing Chicago footwork. I had never seen Chicago footwork. I'd never heard of Chicago footwork. But I see this battle between these two amazing high-level dancers, right? But because I didn't know Chicago footwork, I knew what popping was. I was cheering for the popper. I was cheering for Soul.
Right.
Yeah.
I was cheering him on, right? So when Charles won, right? When Charles won, I was like, well, this is bullshit. Like, what the fuck? You know, like, who the fuck is King Charles? What the fuck is Chicago footwork? I'm going home, right? Yeah. Fate and God and the universe work in mysterious ways. So
absolutely.
Fast forward like 12 months, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm working a job at a sushi restaurant, 6-7 days a week. I'm just doing whatever I can to pay rent. I am desperate. I haven't like danced in months, but I'm trying to keep my head above water. Finally, I'm like, you know, I scraped some money together to take classes every week. I started doing what I was doing before. I was like trying to take 5 different styles. One day, I came into the International Dance Academy, I believe it was called, in Hollywood.
Yep.
Jay, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it was right. IDA.
IDA.
Yep. And that's where J-Ron and King Charles were teaching at the time. I didn't know this, right? I came to take a popping class from Marie Poppins, this amazing French dancer. Yes. I get there after taking the train and doing all this and going through all this hell to get there. And her class was canceled. She was out of town. Yeah. And I was like, well, fuck it. I got to dance. I came here to do something. So what's on the schedule? I look on the board and it says King Charles, Chicago footwork. And I don't remember it. I don't remember at all any of that. I was like, that kind of, okay, cool, whatever. I'll do that. Whatever it is, right? I walk into the classroom. I look this man in the face, look him right in the eye, and I don't recognize him at all. But at that point, like he starts doing his dancing and shit, and I'm seeing that for what I thought was the first time, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. This is incredible. Holy shit. You know, and at the end of the class, he looks to the audience and he's like, so, you know, for anyone who's interested, I also teach private lessons. And I was like, oh, I've never heard of that before, like private lessons. I could learn from this dude. So I walk up to him and I'm all nervous and I'm like, hey man, that was a real good class. So what about these private lessons? How much do you charge? And he told me, and it was the exact like to the dollar amount of what my weekly dance budget was. And so I saw that and I was like, Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. I'll think about it. I got his number. I walked around Hollywood for a bit, and I was thinking, okay, I could do what I've always done. I could keep trying to take 5 different styles at once, or I could bet everything on this dude I just met and this style I've barely ever seen.
Right.
And so, you know, after 20 minutes, I texted him and I was like, let's do this. And he's like, word. And a couple of weeks later, I was taking my first private with him in the tennis court of a Target parking lot in North Hollywood.
Real
tennis court.
Exactly the famous tennis.
You remember those tennis courts, Jay?
But that's what I'll say. This first generation right here, yo. This the OG Rob.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Just for all my people in LA know, it wouldn't be no tennis course if it was for this man right here. For real.
So when you start hearing the music, so when you got to, because I know you heard it in class, but it's different. It's a different feel when you like actually doing like a private with someone that actually is introducing you to everything of, you know, Chicago footwork culture. You know what I mean? So like, what was your first experience like hearing the music?
I am going to be painfully honest here. And this is something that like I am always honest about, because I don't ever want it to see, like, I think the worst thing you can do is you continue like through a culture, especially as a guest, is pretend that like you were always like at a certain level, or you were always at a certain level of appreciation.
Right.
For me, I didn't understand juke music when I first heard it. I thought that was just noise. Like, because in class he would play a little bit of juke like at the end, but he would also do tracks like I think the first track he ever did that I danced to was from Tank, like an R&B song.
R&B song,
right? Yeah. So like he was trying to get us like slowly, subtly introduced to the music, because we didn't grow up with it. We didn't go to the rink. We didn't have all that, you know, as kids in high school. So for the first 2 months of me training with Charles, I did not understand juke music. I just knew that it was bop, 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 bop. Like that's, you know, and I would just move to that pulse or the hi-hat, but I would never really like, I didn't feel it. And then I remember one night training outside of my apartment in North Hollywood, this track came on, and I would be lying if I remembered exactly who it was, but I've got it narrowed down to either DJ Spin or DJ Rock, but they had like mixed it with jazz, right? And when the horns came on, when it was something that like, I don't know what it was, but there was just something about that one track that I finally like, you know, it hit me, and I was like, oh shit, I feel this, you know?
Yeah.
And then from there, that was sort of my bridge into the rest of the tracks and the rest of the culture itself. But those first 2 months, man, were rough. I did not connect to that music at all.
What was one of the first movements that you learned?
Oh, I was just about to get on that.
Oh, I was it was the two-step. I remember this two-step because that was in my private, right, with Charles in that tennis court, December 27th, 2011. I have the date memorized. That's my Chicago footwork anniversary. So I just passed 10 years this last December. But
Facts.
Dang, time flew like that. That's
it's insane. But the chick, my ex-girlfriend was the one who drove me to the tennis court and dropped me off. And I thought she was just gonna go, but she ended up like sneaking like into the bushes and shit, and like watching my first lesson. And afterwards, like doing like me trying to do these two steps, she's like, "Yeah, you look like, you know how like when a baby is first like trying to walk and stumbling around and shit, that's how you look like." And I was like, "Thank you, baby. Thank you." We're no longer together, and now you know why.
Where's the support, yo?
No, I'm playing. She was incredibly supportive for years. We just, you know, as life happens, you know, roads diverge. But I will never forget that. She's like, "Yeah, that was awkward as fuck." I'm like, facts. I could feel it. I was right there. I had the best seat in the house. So
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Dang.
That I can imagine, because the reason why I say I can imagine, because I know we did a couple of privates together. You know what I'm saying? And I can imagine in my head you doing this two-step for the first time. Because I remember me telling you, like, bro, you gotta loosen up. Remember me always telling you that, like, bro, you gotta loosen up the top. So I
was like, what do you mean? I am loose.
Right, you're trying to be perfect, like still.
So I can imagine that, man. What was one of the hardest dance styles? I mean, not dance styles, but what was one of the hardest movements in Chicago footwork that you like? You almost like gave up on.
Oh, the running man.
Everybody.
The running man, for sure, for 1,000%. Running man fucked me up initially, and it's funny because now when I try and teach it, I'm like, guys, it's so simple. What?
Right.
Right. You gotta had been there.
Yeah. I mean, how quickly we forget. But Boo, I want to thank you for at least not videotaping our first privates, because the first time I ever tried to like freestyle to Chicago footwork, like really freestyle, Ron the Great, shout out from Creation, Ron the Great Reed was there, and he videotaped the entire thing. So now every like 3 to 5 years, he sends me that video out of nowhere. I will not have talked to this man for years.
You're gonna send that reminder.
The first thing he does is just be like, hey, you remember this shit? You remember how bad you were? And I'm like,
oh my God, bro. That was
overdue. I swear I'm gonna hear from him within the next year or two. He's gonna send me that footage again.
Video again.
Yeah.
Like, not because I know for me, I remember when Charles came back, I think he was just coming back here to visit. And he was saying like you had some people in LA, Chicago footwork. And I was like, okay. I'm like, okay. I was like, I need to see him. You know what I'm saying? And when I remember my first time coming to Cali, and I saw you, Bree. It was you, Bree, and who you?
Son. It would have been Tammy as well.
Yup, Tammy. Yup. Who was it? Anybody? I'm trying.
RJ.
RJ and
Ooh, y'all going first generation.
And Brandon, wasn't it? Brandon, swole Brandon, military.
Oh, the Marine. Yeah. Brandon.
Yeah.
I think it was Brandon. It's been a hot minute. So
exactly. So I remember when I came down there and seeing y'all like this, like I said, this is the first time I ever met anybody that was like new to the culture. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know anything about Chicago footwork. And to see y'all like starting out, you know what I'm saying? I was like, hell, it was still like, it was amazing to me because I'm like, how the hell?
Hey,
like, how did y'all even, stay that consistent? You know what I'm saying? Like, even doing like Erkin jerks or whatever. Like, and you know what I mean? And y'all was on beat with it. And you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, this is crazy, bro. Like, I couldn't even fathom that, bro.
Honestly, I think, and it's not like I'm not like that I don't already give credit to this man, but like it is a testament to anyone who's ever like, if you have ever, anyone in Chicago who's ever tried to like start up like anything outside of the city with like people that were not raised around it. Like I have tried doing what Charles did in Los Angeles, in Denver. I live in Denver now. That shit is ridiculously hard. Like it's a testament to how much work that man put in and how much like his ability to connect with people beyond like, his own home base. Cause like we had, if it were not for him, like cheering us on initially, like, cause you know how Chicago is like, new stuff is not exactly almost entirely welcome.
It's not
with open arms. And that's not a diss too. Like I absolutely understand, like you all suffered for this art. You like so many people have like bled for this. So to see like somebody who looks like me doing it with no context, like you have every right to feel some type of way about that. But like, it was good to have Charles there as a positive influence going like, you can do this. This is possible. You do need to understand where it comes from. You do not need to understand that like the culture that created it has had a lot taken away from it, but like you can find a place here.
But big ups,
he wasn't there doing that.
But big ups to you guys, because like I said, y'all was the first. First. And with y'all,
that's why that's super important.
Yeah, bro. When y'all, even though it was the like, big ups to y'all because y'all could have gave up. And the reason why I say y'all could have gave up because look at all the like negativity that was coming to y'all at that time. Like,
and y'all didn't have nobody to look up to be like, oh yeah, they doing it in Japan.
Exactly.
Or they doing it like y'all was the first.
Y'all was the first.
Like nobody else doing it. And, hey, speaking of which, hey, shout out to you too, Rob. You was my first battle balance somebody outside of Chicago, yo.
I was gonna mention that you were the first like official footwork battle I ever had. And I know there's still footage of that somewhere, grainy as shit, but like,
yeah,
I remember looking at it going like, ooh, I did my combos, that was clean, that was, you know, nice, right? And then like you went and did your thing, and I'm like, oh shit, oh man, oh, no mercy.
How was that experience though? How was that experience?
It was, I will never forget it. Because I remember, because those classes back in the day weren't just Charles. That was a King Charles and Prince J-Ron joint.
Exclusive. Those are exclusive classes.
They were partners out there. So like they were building that class together. So you know, I remember like coming over to the apartment that they shared and watching Take Flight and watching the footage that Crossfire would like put on YouTube. Like I was watching Crossfire's videos like 5-6 years before I ever met the man. So when I was actually like, oh, this is Mr. Watch and Witness.
Right.
Oh my God. I'm in the presence of royalty.
Right.
But like, so when I found out that Jay was going to go home, that he was decided that like he needed to go back to the city, I was like, oh my God, I might never get a chance like this to battle him again. So I challenged him, and he was like the nicest guy about it, as he normally is. He was like, yeah, sure, right? We go out to the parking lot on his last day teaching at Debbie Reynolds, the Debbie Reynolds parking lot, which no longer exists because of capitalism.
Hey, that was legendary too. The
legendary
location was legendary.
Legendary.
Debbie Reynolds parking lot, and all the dancers was all outside, like a battle happening in the parking lot. Everybody come outside.
Yup. And so I went and did my best, and it was honestly, it was like watching a third grader try to fight an MMA fighter, but like he was the nicest dude afterwards because he took me aside and he sat me down and we talked for like an hour. Jay was like, you don't understand, like, I know it feels some type of way right now, but you don't understand like the significance of this moment right now.
Yep.
And he's right. It's been like almost 10 years later, and I'm like, shit.
Yep. You was the first, and you set the bar. Because there was even other students out there that was looking up to that moment, like wow. And I'm like, yeah, like some people was really like inspired by that. And they was like, man, we got to sign up for classes. We want to, the energy was too raw. It was too organic. I'm like, that's how it's supposed to be.
That's most,
you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
So how did it feel, yo? Oh, that's all I want to go into. That first initial, the tryout.
Ooh.
Oh my God. So Charles had been training us for months. Like I remember I had been with him for a few months, and he was saying, yo, I have this crew back home, Creation. I've been thinking really hard about opening up a branch out in Los Angeles. would you want to try out for that? And I'm like, this was my mentor saying this to me. I'm like, yeah, that's all I ever wanted. So, I mean, we were all training for months. This was like high pressure, 2 to 3 months of just like grinding to get to this one night in the tennis courts of that fucking parking lot. And I forget, there was another footworker there from the west side. I believe he was from the west side. I do not remember this cat's name. I don't remember what crew he was in, but he was like, he was hanging around. So like I got to battle this dude, which was crazy. But like, regardless, we're going hard. We're like, he's testing us not only on like our battle skills, but like freestyle, our ability to do combinations and routines, like all sorts of shit that he's pulling out. And we had to do multiple battles, and it just got to be this point where like he pulled us aside, and he's like, you know, I want you to understand, like, none of this is guaranteed. And if you do make it into this crew and you do pursue this as a career, I want you to understand and appreciate you'll be making money using an art form that some of the founders like never even made a dime off of. And I want you to understand and appreciate what that means. And that's something that hit hard, and I kept with me for every class that I've taught since. You know, I don't take this lightly. This is not something I'm entitled to. It's something that I am privileged enough to like have been given a chance to take part in. But that sort of appreciation started that night at the tryout with him like pulling us aside and saying that to us.
That's one of the biggest diamonds right there, yo.
It is. Because people don't understand, like the people on the outside, some
in the inside.
And some in the inside, you know what I'm saying? Some that's
don't even appreciate, so don't even realize how
big that is. You know what I'm saying? Like you're cold, but you know it was dancers before you that, you know what I'm saying, that paved the way. You know what I'm saying? If they wasn't paving this way, you wouldn't be what you
wouldn't exist, man.
You wouldn't be here.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a big fact. I mean, that's a big point right there, man.
Yeah.
And like the OGs that I've been privileged enough to meet, blessed enough to meet, honored enough to meet, RP Boo, Ant Brown, etc. Like they have been nothing but welcoming and nothing but like enthusiastically supportive and just excited to see like the culture spread beyond the city. And the style spread beyond the city. So that's always like whenever someone like that talks to me and you know expresses that sort of like, you know, enthusiasm, I'm like, shit, I need to do better.
For real, like a little weight on the shoulders, like, dang.
Yeah.
For real, man.
Have you I don't want to say, do you remember your first battle you won?
That's a very fair question because I have lost a lot of battles.
I mean, of course, everybody know they, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you remember that first one you like kind of was like?
I remember the first like high profile, like witnessed battle that was recorded that I won. And that was actually against your student, Jay, in Japan, Takuya.
Ooh.
I ended up winning the, they called it the Battle Train Tokyo.
Battle Train, yeah.
Shout out to Battle Train.
Yeah. And my final rounds were against him. It was, you know, 1-on-1, obviously. And he came at it with like this ferocity that like I never would have expected, like having not grown up, but like lived in Japan before, like having trained with Japanese dancers before. Like he had this fire, which I'm sure he still has. And he, you know, he came from my head and I only just like edged past him because like he had this fire. I had a little more control at the time. I was throwing out more combos. I was like getting a little more technical with it, because at that point in my career, I was not like matching like his level of energy. So yeah, that's the one that sticks out in my mind the most, because I was just like, I remember like getting the, you know, the taking the bow afterwards, getting that W, and then just like going off on the side going, what the hell just happened? Like
Flash.
First off, that just had to just rewind. Just man, got trained in L.A. and then doing a Chicago footwork battle in Japan. Like what?
Look,
You know, it's just the progress of how far Chicago footwork then went. Like that's crazy.
it's man, dude. Like seriously, man. I have so many like when I first met Rob, a lot of people used to tell me like, you know, the members in creation, the older members in creation, they did not like Rob. And the reason why they didn't like Rob is because Rob is the most realist individual with no filter, bro.
Facts.
Like no filter. So when I first met him, I was like, that's my motherfucking brother. Because that's how I roll. So when everybody's like, you heard what Rob said, I'm like, yo, like, man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I finally met somebody that, you know what I'm saying, that's not gonna hold their tongue. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, this is him. I respect you, but I don't agree with what you're saying. That's basically like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I love that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? And not be like feeling no type of way afterwards. Like, we done had discussions. I'm talking about deep discussions. And I sat back and was like, yo, like, I ain't even thinking about it that way. Like, you know what I'm saying? And gave me a whole different perspective on, you know what I'm saying, how I was even looking at it in the first place. Because, you know, coming from Chicago, we always guarded, you know what I'm saying? Everything, like everything. So the conversations that we was having, I was kind of like took back, like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's how you feel like that for real? Like, like, you know what I'm saying? You know, so
he has never said this to my face, so I'm learning all this as the rest of y'all at home are learning all this. So dang.
Like,
hey, we all learning on this show.
Is that why you didn't like me? Shit.
Everything, like a lot of people, like seriously, and you knew that too, because people, you know what I'm saying, like, you used to sit back and be like, man, why they acting, you know what I mean? But
no, that's right. And I Charles has had to talk to me like quite a few times over the years about, like, you know, I should have held my tongue with this. I should have done that. I should, you know, etc. And, you know, in a way, he absolutely had a point. But also there were certain things. It was a big part of my journey was like trying to figure out how I fit not only into the culture, but into the crew itself. Because before me, there wasn't a white member of creation. There wasn't anyone who grew up with my specific background and looked at the world the way I did, or had my sort of, let's say, obscure sense of humor. So I think a lot of people in the crew found that to be pretty abrasive, and I didn't understand why that would be at the time. Like, looking back on it now, I can absolutely like see it. And also, I was very lucky that I had people like Boo and Charles to protect me, because if I had said certain things like that to some of these people outside of certain contexts, I would have gotten my ass kicked. Like, no doubt about it. It wasn't intentionally me being disrespectful. It's that I didn't understand growing up in Chicago
exactly
how one had to learn how to move and walk and talk in the world to protect themselves, and also to like make their point. So there was a lot of miscommunication that was unfortunately just culture shock for all of us, I think.
Yeah, that's an important diamond right there too, man. Communication. A lot of people in Chicago don't even know how to communicate with each other, so it's still a learning process.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying when I first met, you know, the LA chapter, I was still that individual. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was, hey, no, man, why is we even teaching them this? You said I was still in that mindset, like, you know what I'm saying, until I had to understand, you know what I'm saying, it's a bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? It's a bigger picture than what we, want it to be, especially here. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, when I met him and we got to talking, I was like, yo, like, I thought you was gonna be so I thought you I thought
Say
it was
some
gonna be
blatantly racist shit, huh?
No. I didn't even think that. I was way from that. You know what I'm saying? I just thought that it was gonna be like the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? When I talked to Bree, when I talked to Tammy, it was more so like, how can I put it? Like it I didn't get that. I wasn't comfortable. Like, I felt like they was more like scared of us than, you know what I'm saying, than anything. It was like, oh, hey, how you do? Like, they standoffish. It was, you know what I mean? It wasn't received. Like, you, when we first met, you like we already knew each other or something. Like, oh, what's going on? Oh, what's going on? Y'all, like, you know what I'm saying? It was conversation. You know what I'm saying? You was
straight dead in.
Straight in, you know what I'm saying? Shake up, you know what I'm saying?
That's how I used to be at the crib. When he used to come over to the apartment. That's how it was. Really.
So tell us about your first trip to Chicago.
So that was a journey, because like up until the week before, the plan was that Charles was going to take me there himself, introduce me to the crew, take me to BG's, get, just sort of, that would be my debut in the city and in the culture officially. This man gets a gig like 5 days before I'm set to fly out, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, man, you'll be fine. Just stick with Boo, and it'll be okay." And I'm like,
It's in a row.
It was funny because he spent like an entire year just telling me, like, you gotta move differently in Chicago. You gotta like watch your ass in Chicago. You gotta depend on your crew to look out for you, because you will, if you go to this certain spot without them, you will die. Like, he's got his hand on my shoulder. He's like, look at me. You will die if you don't follow what I'm saying. I'm like,
you done brought your ticket already.
Yep. And so like die. 5 days before, he's like, "Yeah, man, I got a gig. Sorry about that, but you just stay close to Boo. He'll look out for you." And I'm like, "Shit, word. Okay, cool. Fuck."
You nervous as hell?
Stay close to Boo.
Yeah, I mean, and even then, like, Boo is like taking me to certain spots where he's like, "Don't you ever come here without me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I know."
Bro, and look,
when will I do that?
I understand. Like, why would I? Like,
hey, but that was the thing though, because I took Rob to the hood. Like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we gonna go straight downtown and I'm gonna show you the beautiful. No. We about to go to the hood where all of us started. Some of us started here. Don't go in this area. You see what's going on this corner? You don't want to be here. Let's drive down here to this store. This is a store. You see this? You see that hype walking down the street? You don't want to be over here neither. Let's go down here. Like, bro, because I want to listen. Like, I want to show him the good and the bad. So therefore, you get a full experience, not just, oh yeah, I went to Chicago and it was great. We was downtown. We saw the skyline. We went to the Willis Tower. What? You wasn't
my
in
Chicago. My Chicago tour was absolutely that. And then the only other like prominent thing that was not footwork related at all is because like my girl went with me at the time, the one who said I looked awkward as shit. Right. And King Chemo took us to the factory. Right. I don't know if that's still in operation.
Y'all went to the factory?
But for those who are outside of the city, the factory, from what I remember, was this gigantic strip club.
Right.
That will haunt my dreams for the rest of my life. But I have this very distinct memory of like Chemo on one side of me this chick like grinding in front, and then like my girl off on the side, like throwing like ones on her. And I'm like standing here going like, Charles didn't mention this.
Juke. The Juke City.
Yep.
Y'all did go to the factory. I sure forgot.
Hilarious. Welcome to Chicago.
But other than that, like back to actually like footwork related things, because there's a 50-50 chance Charles will eventually see this and be like, why did you talk about that?
That's in Chicago.
Yeah,
Chicago.
Because they asked me about Chicago, man. But so I went to creation practice for the first time. I remember battling like for hours against Pause, against Lil Bit, against J-Rock, against Tempo, against Kenny, and oh shit, Kendall. Rest in power.
Wow.
I remember the first time I met Kendall, it was battling, and then it was actually the second time after that I went back to Chicago, that it was you and me and Pause rolling around, and he just happened to be in his car, like pulled up next to us, shot the shit. He was like, "What's good, Rob?" Like, you know, we talked, and then he drove off, and he passed a few weeks after that, if I'm not mistaken, or a few months, something like that. But so that was my and BB was at the practice as well. And BB came up to me like, it was funny because he was like, "Yo, you got something, man. You've got something. Let me like what you're missing right now, right?" This was the shit. BB comes up, shout out to BB, to this day, one of the most like generous giving people outside of like, you know, to outsiders in Chicago when it comes to like putting you on. But he comes up to me, he's like, "So what you're missing is that you're not dancing like a tall person. You're trying to dance like somebody my height, right? So what you got to do," and then as he starts talking, the music got like super loud and I couldn't hear shit. And I was like, "Wait, what? What'd you say? What? What'd you?" And then he walks off, and I'm like,
"You didn't hear what he's
damn it, I ain't get the damn it."
Yeah. So there was that, and then
I can picture that too.
Yeah, I was so mad. I was so mad, but I couldn't get it back. And then I did end up going to BG's that trip. It was the one and only time that I'd been to Battlegrounds. I remember at that point, like there was, you know, we weren't sure if we were gonna go. Like, you know, not a lot of people like wanted to come through, but you know, I told Boo that it was one of the reasons I wanted to come to Chicago in the first place, and he's like, "Fuck it, let's do this." So we called up some people in the crew, like they met us at Battlegrounds, and I had my first actual like, you know, battle as a part of creation, facing off against, you know, all these people in Chicago. And I don't think anyone ever caught it on camera. Like I've been looking, I've been like asking people, I don't think we ever got like that footage. But it's still like, regardless of whether or not it was recorded on camera, like I was blessed and honored to be in that space, to represent creation, to take part in that exchange with like actual Chicago footworkers, and to have like, you know, my crewmates afterwards say like, "Yeah, like you did your thing, you were listening to the music, like we could tell by your musicality that you were creation." I think that was one of the best compliments I've ever received, and yeah, that hit hard. So, you know, all jokes aside, like that first trip to Chicago is something I will never forget. And anyone who wants to be a part of this culture, to take part in this style, to contribute in any way, like the classes are cool, the online shit is cool. COVID like drove us indoors and you know, killed some of us. So like however you get to the culture, however you get to the style is how you get there. But until you actually go to Chicago, until you actually dance with Chicagoans, until you actually like get burnt and like balled up and like take your fucking L's, like it's just gonna be a hobby.
Yep.
Diamond right there, yo.
Diamond after diamond, goddamn.
Diamond after I said this was gonna be the one.
He
That for real. He paid, man. Rob paved the way. Don't
did.
get like, damn, seriously, like, I mean,
Bro,
this
you're
footwork being
you're an OG, bro. You
for
don't know it.
real.
Yes, you is, bro.
You the OG for real.
Bro, 10 years.
I love you and I appreciate, no, for real. I don't want to discount that at all. Like the both of you saying that like is a huge honor, and it makes the heart swell. But like for me, if I ever start thinking like that, like you might as well just put me in a box. Like I spent so many years trying to figure out Chicago footwork like it was a math problem. Like if I could just get this certain technique right, if I could just memorize this pattern of moves, if I could just memorize these tracks, that, you know, then I'd be someone worthy of like saying, yeah, King Charles taught me, Boo Dilla taught me, J-Ron taught me, I'm a member of Creation, you know, all this stuff. I never really felt worthy. And that's because I was looking at this from the wrong way. You know, I learned techniques and moves and style first. I didn't learn how to be myself.
Mhm.
I didn't express myself in the way that, like, dance for me at that point was a problem to be solved. It wasn't an escape from like the bullshit of my day to day. It wasn't a way of like freeing my spirit in the way that it is now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, like, you know, we especially as an outsider, like I take the responsibility very seriously. So many of us like were raised to like copy our teachers and try and like, you know, so especially in Japan, you know, or like really anybody like outside of Chicago, us Creation members, we're, you know, we all want to be like the next King Charles, or we all want to be Pausetti, or we all want to be Budilla, etc., you know, or Chemo, or all, or a little bit, or all these greats, you know. But those people already exist. Those dancers are already there. Like if you want to really contribute to the culture instead of just take from it, you have to be yourself. You have to create your own shit that you can give back to the culture, and then you inspire the next generation, etc., etc., etc. So all that to say, thank you gentlemen so much for saying that. But like for me, I always have to keep that mentality of like, we are just starting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Especially-
definitely,
Yeah,
you definitely just starting. You still,
Yeah,
you
you
still
most
definitely.
definitely-
But when it comes to where Chicago footwork is right now, and all the different posts around the world that Chicago footwork is at now,
Mhm.
the first post was LA.
Yep.
You know, that was the first post. And for you to be that first batch of students and the one to stay consistent in that first batch, that was our inspiration to start the domino effect around the world. So, you know, and just speaking with that, like you said, that was an important part too, as far as being able to express yourself through the culture, through the steps, and not being a robot and not being a copy. And that's a process, because it's people that's been dancing longer than you that's still trying to understand that process. You know, so that's the thing when it comes, we constantly always evolving.
Yep. And we still, you know what I'm saying? Like I know for me, and I know, you know, for Jay, we still learning too. You know what I'm saying? Like we still, you know what I'm saying, even though, you know, we're called, you know what I'm saying, like we, oh, y'all living legends, y'all OGs, y'all, you know what I'm saying? We still learning. You know what I'm saying? But it take for OGs to call another person an OG in order for it to stick though. So, you know what I'm saying? Even though you like, man, yeah, I'm still working, da da da, bro. You was the first, and not just only the first out of your class. Who else is dancing still? Footwork, not no other dance style.
Yeah. No, I was trying to think about that.
No one else out of your class is still footworking. Nobody.
Damn.
Nobody. So for you to keep that and still be teaching and performing, and you know what I'm saying, and still a part, what? Like you just said,
That's
10
it.
years, bro. 10 years is a long ass time
Facts.
to ride a wave of something that you learned that you had no idea of, and you still doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could have just like, no, I'm good. You know, I'm in Denver right now. Man, I'm doing my thing. I'm about to start writing. I'm doing my podcast, and just gave it up.
Yeah, I think after everything that I went through to get the bit that I have now, like to give that up, like what is life at that point? Like
Right.
if you're gonna sacrifice all that, like it doesn't quite make sense. For me, I'm actually entering this new phase because like for the last 4 or 5 years, I was in total darkness. Like I'd left Los Angeles, I'd left King Charles because, not like left creation or Charles, but like, I left being around my mentor all the time because I had this feeling that like I was missing something, that I was like in danger if I didn't leave, that I would just become a copycat or a carbon copy of Charles. And like it took traveling the world, it took coming back to the States, moving to Denver, struggling for years, like, to try and make rents, to try and like build something in Denver, like with other Chicago, like to train some more Chicago footworkers. And really like it took, and then like the pandemic and COVID and all that stuff, it took all that for me to realize that like, it's time to start over. So that's where I'm at with my footwork right now, is that like, I am starting fresh, not saying I threw all my technique or anything out the window. It's just, now I listen to tracks differently. I look at the dance differently. I move when I feel like moving.
Mm-hmm.
I put more of myself, even if it's, especially because it's weird. Like everyone has already seen my sense of humor is a bit out there. My personality is a bit out there. So my dance needs to start reflecting that, or it's not honest.
Right.
It's not an honest expression. So in many ways, even though I have 10 years under my belt, I feel like a brand new rookie. That's what I'm
That's the spirit. That now you're talking the language. That's it right there.
Hey Rob, you've been saying too many diamonds lately. I'm just like, oh my God.
That's the spirit. That now you in the stream.
Yeah.
That's where you're supposed to be.
Well, now it feels like things are really, like the journey is really starting.
The journey is really about to start now.
And I've been pretty much preaching this to all of our, everybody that's in the crew, from new to the old, like you have to create your own way. You got to create you, with you learning from X, Y, and Z, and you doing X, Y, and Z moves, and we still not seeing you. It's like, what's the whole point? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you in it for? You know what I'm saying? We done talked, that's one reason why I stepped back, because I be wanting to say something so bad, to a lot of, dancers, when it comes down to this footwork culture, But you can't hold the person coattail forever. Like, you gotta eventually let go. And once you let go, you're gonna start really seeing who you really are. You know what I'm saying?
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's terrifying at times if you're not used to doing it. But I want to go back like real quick to something that Crossfire said before we officially like got this session going. He was talking about how some people in Chicago have felt some type of way about mixing with dancers from other styles,
right?
Something to that effect. But it was funny, like during the pandemic, when I started my own podcast, which I've been on break for about a year now, I really need to get back to it. But I started interviewing dancers from all different styles all over the world. And there was this one Swiss dancer. She was a black girl in Switzerland who dances hip hop. And she said something to me that I will never forget. And she said, because we were talking about the importance of the cipher or the circle, and she was saying to all these people that like didn't come up in the culture, that were just trying to like use it, she was saying like, freestyle, like dancing in the cypher, in the circle, is that sense of community. And when you freestyle, when you really express yourself, you're showing the rest of us who you are. We're sharing entirely as equals. If you're not going to do that, then why are you there? If you're not going to show me who you are, why should I dance with you? Why are you trying to hide? And like, I heard that shit and I was like, oh, damn.
Bro. Hey.
So,
yo, like,
that's facts. That's facts.
Like, speaking on that, I do wanna say thank you for linking me up with Dre and Disciples of Funk, because me doing those events, like, and being around those OGs, like,
yeah,
learning so much from Marcellus, learning so much, you know what I'm saying, from Millicent, like Chester, like, you know what I'm saying, like
Archie,
you know what I mean, like learning so much from them, and them like just pouring into me, you know, and yo, I've learned so, like, I can't wait till that come back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I feel like I was always feeling like I was a student, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, even though I was training you, you know what I mean? At the same time, they was training me, you know what I'm saying? Like, while I was there, you know what I mean? And that gives me a point where I wanted to talk about was when Marcellus was talking about
Marcel.
I said Marcellus, Marcel. He was talking about how when you're battling, and I remember him saying he don't battle no more. And I remember him telling us, like, because you're giving people that space to judge you. And I'm like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I don't be feeling, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I feel that way. Like, when people be like, oh, you should go ahead, battle, da, 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 and you trying to force me to, and I don't get off. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm dancing, let me dance. Let me
It wasn't in your spirit. It wasn't in the spirit. You ain't like that, and that's what people don't understand. Like, you get it's like stages, you know what I'm saying? And that's the reason I can't wait. I'm almost done with this footwork Bible. It's like stages, you know what I'm saying? Like high school, like once you get to a certain point, you ain't dancing for the same reason no more. You know what I'm saying? You're not dancing for nobody else. You dancing for you. It's spiritual warfare. So at the end of the day, who demon is better than the next? So so what you releasing on the dance floor is what you releasing. How can someone judge how you release? The main thing, if you get to the same source of peace and the same point of clarity at the end, then that's, you did what you were supposed to do. That ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that kind of circles back to what you was talking about, Rob, as far as you starting over.
Yeah. That's college talk for my OG dancers.
Yeah, you starting over. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna start connecting to that source. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna connect to that source, and you get a whole different meaning when you out there. You know what I'm saying? You starting to understand more. But I know it's 8. What we on? Oh yeah. So we can get into these questions. If y'all have any questions for my brother Rob, you already know you can type them in the chat. Same as on Facebook Live. If you got any questions for my brother, type them in the chat. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing is off limits.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's
LA
not
confidential.
one of those, listen, he's not one of those individuals that,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, that's gonna, you know, give you them that baby talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. You know what I mean? He raw and authentic. So, you know what I mean? Go ahead.
For better or worse.
Y'all shoot them questions out. My first question is, give me your top. Let me get your top DJs. Let me just get 5.
Oh, killing me here. RP Boo, absolutely, 1000%. Godfather. RP Boo. Some of the best dances I've ever had in my life were because of that man. was dancing at the parties that he would DJ in Los Angeles. The best dancing I ever did in Chicago was at that release party a couple of years ago.
Yep.
That was all him. So shout out to RP Boo. God bless you, sir. I will sing that man's praises till the day I die. Let's see. DJ Clint. Absolutely. Clint. So this man kept it real with me when he came out to Los Angeles at Tokyo Beat, and I went out on the floor and I started ghosting, right? And he stopped the track and said into the microphone, "You're on the wrong beat." Hey, you're on the wrong beat. That's not how it go. And I was like, oh shit.
That's
Called me
clear.
out. Afterwards, like, he came up to me, like, we were talking outside of the venue for like ever, and he's like, yo, it is not personal. It is not, like, I'm not trying to embarrass you out there. Like, I'm doing you a favor. And I kept saying, like, yeah, I know, thank you. Like, I really appreciate that. But I don't think he understood that I genuinely appreciated what he did, because he was still trying to tell me like an hour later that he wasn't trying to be an asshole about it.
Real talk though. I was just talking to this. We were just talking about this the other day. That is a OG diamond. Like, when DJs stop the music in a party and really say, you know what I'm saying, and instruct certain things. Like, if a person really sucks, hey, you suck. Or if it was something that person need to work on, they would say it over the music or over the mic. And it was for that person to improve and take that note to improve. So that way they can fix and adjust, you know what I'm saying? So that was something that was done to a little bit of all of us, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so to be able to experience that, most people haven't experienced that in years due to it not being parties, you know what I'm saying? So most people don't usually do it as much now, but back in the day, that was like, yeah, for you to experience that was like, dang, that was dope.
I was honored, for real. I'm gonna try and speed through some of these too, because I know y'all got more. But DJ Rock came up with like some of the most my most favorite tracks, and like even a lot of his newer stuff, like was stuff I'd play during my classes. Crack Capone. And DJ Spin, like some of my all-time favorite tracks were Spin joints. And like I would see Spin at parties and like, you know, try and say hi and shit. And he'd just be like, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, we don't gotta be friends. Your music is cold. And then let's see. Who else can I?
RP Clint. You said RP Clint.
Yeah, RP Clint, Rock, and Spin.
That's 4. We got one more.
Honestly, I'm excited about Clint's kid.
Yeah.
Corey. Like the stuff that I've heard from DJ Corey is fantastic. And I'm always of the opinion, it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, if you are doing your thing, like, I will support you. Like, I do not buy into this, like, the next generation is always garbage bullshit. Like, the next generation is going to carry us all forward. So they are worthy of our respect. And DJ Corey's doing his thing. So shout out.
Yep. Talent is talent, yo.
Yep.
This next question is, for the new generation coming in, what would be some of your advice for new people coming into the culture, or those that's trying to that's coming in and learning? I know you have learned so many things. What would be some tips that you would give for those that's coming up, that's trying to have some motivation or things like that?
I keep coming back to the thing of like, it's this balance that you have to strike, and I get that. Like, I was there, you know. you have to learn the technique. You have to learn the vocabulary if you're going to speak this language properly. But I don't think it should ever, like, for those of us who didn't grow up like in Black culture in general and Chicago culture specifically, if you didn't grow up dancing, if you didn't grow up with an understanding of groove, like, it's very easy to look at dance as just this big technical bunch of steps, but it's that feeling. If you're just learning techniques and if you're not learning to feel the music, if you're not willing to get into a dance floor and look stupid, like, or silly, or like just angry when you're angry, sad when you're sad, etc., like, you're missing out on so much. And that's stuff that you're going to have to go back later and learn how to feel. Like, this shit should be fun. If you're not having fun with this, then why are you doing it? You know?
Yeah.
And then the other aspect to keep in mind is that, especially with Chicago, like, there are going to be a lot of people that don't like that you're doing this, and they have every right to feel that way. Again, like, if this is something that, like, an entire group of people struggle to build and other people outside of the city are getting rich off of it, in certain respects. I mean, nobody's getting like hella rich off of Chicago footwork, but like making money, you know. You know, there's this feeling of, like, especially for white people, we have had a culture, this history. If you look at all these other Black dances, the Lindy Hop, b-boying, breaking, shit like that, like, it turns into this like math problem instead of like this genuine expression of feeling. So I guess I'm just gonna keep being this broken record. Feel it, have fun, and if people in Chicago give you negativity, that's okay. Like, they're not necessarily wrong, but at the same time, if you listen to them, if you stop dancing, then that's just one less person who could be contributing to the culture.
Right.
Like, learn the history, listen to the music, go to Chicago, talk to the people, like, be real and let them change you for the better. And hopefully that works both ways.
So I wanted to also ask, I'm glad Cross said something about this. What made you create your podcast? What brought you into doing that?
I thank you for that question. I love that. I had always wanted to do a podcast. I'd been thinking about it for years. And the inspiration actually came from, I was in Denmark on a tour with Chicago Footwork, and one of my homies, Professor Locke. I don't know if you ever met Bryce.
Yeah, I met Bryce.
Okay, cool. Yeah, shout out to Bryce, the homie in Denmark. He's from Philly. He is one of the best dancers I have ever like come across in any style. And we went to this one theater where they were having this huge party, and they were playing like old hip hop tracks, new shit. Like, we partied the entire night. And like, some of the discussions that we had afterwards while like catching a cab and getting back to the spot, I was just sitting there going like, I would love to just sit down with dancers and like have a discussion. Yeah, about dance, obviously, but also about who they are as people, because you realize that a lot of the things that the most important things about dance aren't necessarily the technique. A lot of it is like the history of the person or the history of the culture that they grew up in. All that is a bigger part of the story that informs how they dance. So like, we had this talk last year, Jay and Boo, because I was asking y'all, you know, you've done almost 100 episodes. Has talking to these dancers, has talking with these people and having these discussions, has that changed the way you dance? And it absolutely did for me in like the 50, 60 episodes that I've made so far. Yeah. Like, it changed how I looked at everything, and that changed how I moved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it most definitely did for me. I know for a fact.
It's one of those things that it's like puzzle pieces. You know, each time you get a new puzzle piece, you see the bigger picture.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So piggyback off that, Crossfire had a question. He had several questions basically. First one was, Are you still teaching and trying to start another chapter of creation at some point?
I left my class shortly before the pandemic started. I just got to this point where I was teaching these kids in Boulder, and like the only people coming in were like, you know, I'm not trying to talk trash here, but there was just a specific group of people that, like, Boulder folks are overwhelmingly white, overwhelmingly privileged. A lot of them were treating it as a workout, and that isn't necessarily their fault. Like, it got me thinking about, like, well, how am I presenting this? How am I teaching this? I made this realization later as I started my real journey on feeling groove and finding myself, that I was still teaching based on a formula. I was still teaching 1, 2, 3 ABC in a way that was given to me, as opposed to like me actually feeling the music. So people weren't connecting to it.
Right.
So I sort of started this journey of like, okay, I gotta really figure out who I am. And then once that shit, like once I'm consistently able to do that and like really show myself in the circle, then I'm ready to teach again.
Got you.
And like I'm a good teacher, but
yeah,
that's not all it takes. Just like being a dancer ain't all it takes to, you know, be a good teacher. Like it takes both. So I think eventually, yeah, I would like to start teaching again. I've had certain people express interest in like having me in the studios and like teaching classes. I think right now I'm going to keep it to workshops and really start like tailoring my own approach to it. But honestly, like I've always done better with one-on-one students. So if the right student comes along, yeah, and they're interested, I will give them whatever I have.
And I also we gotta chop it up, because I most definitely want to bring Bang Out Workout to Colorado.
Totally.
The second part, well, second and third part of that question is, where can you find your podcast, and can Crossfire be on your podcast?
I would love to have Crossfire on my podcast. I have actually, like, Jay has been on my list of people to ask. Cross was on my list of people to ask. This was back when I had like consistent momentum. I got a job in finance, and like I had to like focus on like getting through these exams and licenses and stuff. So now that I have my head above water, it's just a matter of like, man, I got to get back to recording with people again. But once I get that momentum going, both of y'all are getting those invites. For those who are interested in listening to the episodes that we already have, it is on Spotify, pretty much exclusively on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or pretty much anything that like has those audio podcasts. You can go on and just search Drinking and Dance at the End of the World. And my name is Rob Celtic, so my name will be attached to that. So we have about 56, 60 episodes, something like that. That we did. Like I basically did like one a week for like a little over a year.
Right. Yeah.
But you will learn, like, you know, you'll have interviews from people not only in the Chicago footwork world, but like all sorts of black dance forms.
That's fire.
We had a question for Cornerstone too. I had passed Jay.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
He made a mistake and sent it to me directly.
I had another question for Rob, but I didn't want to miss nobody else's question.
Yeah, because Cornerstone sent me something, but it wasn't on the live. He said, do you feel like you can now dance in your hometown without folks acting funny towards you?
That is a good question. I assume he's talking about Chicagoans or just like people in Denver.
I'm not for sure, because I think he left. So,
all right, so I'll just treat it as both, because I want to cover his bases. I want to make sure the man's question gets answered. So
I guess he's talking about Iowa. Mayo, you said Iowa.
I think probably Iowa, because I remember you said when at the beginning you were saying that dancing in your hometown, they looked at it as
right. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's easy. I don't give a shit if they look at me funny. First off, okay, like it's the reason that they look at you funny when you're dancing as a dude in Iowa is because they're homophobic. To dance meant to be gay, to be feminine, to be this or that. I don't think it's disgraceful to be gay. I don't think it's disgraceful to be a woman. So if they think I look like either of those things, I take it as a compliment. Fuck them. Like these people, like it's a special kind of ignorance out in the country, and out in Iowa in particular. Like they're all Trump voters right now. So I wash my hands of the place. If they want to look at me funny, cool. They can come say some shit. I am right fucking here, baby. Sorry, I just blacked out a little bit. I got like really mad thinking about Iowa. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Hey, that's what it's all about, man. Be you. This next question is, what are some things that you would like to see happen in the culture?
Oh man, I think I asked you that last year, and this is your payback to me, huh?
Absolutely.
Man, Jay does not forget. Like he holds on to this shit. J-Ron, bringing up old shit. What would I like to see? I would like to see more Chicago footworkers, like people who have like grown up in the culture, taking chances outside of their city. And by that, I mean, like, if you want, like, not everybody's meant to be a professional dancer or a teacher or this or that. But if any part of you wants to do anything like that, please get out there. Please, like, I don't have a lot of connects right now. I don't have like a lot of resources, but like, if there's any way I can assist, I'll do what I can, but regardless of like, depending on anyone else for help, like if any part of you is for it, like the rest of the world needs you.
Yes.
The rest of the world desperately needs you. Just like, the culture itself is always going to need new people and new perspectives to keep it fresh, to keep that blood flowing, to get that creative juices going. Like the rest of the world who wants to learn Chicago footwork needs you, your audience. There are going to be certain footworkers in Chicago that will be able to reach people that King Charles can't reach, that J-Ron can't reach, that Budilla can't reach. We all have our own audiences, and you are desperately needed. So if any part of you feels that call, please go follow it. You don't have to make money. Like, you don't have to be rich off of it. It doesn't have to be your entire career. You can still hold down a 9 to 5 and do this shit on the weekends, but like, you are needed. So that's what I would like to see.
Man, that was perfectly said.
I got one more question before we close out.
Go ahead, bro.
What would young Rob C tell? No, what would the older Rob C tell the young Rob C? What advice would you give yourself?
Damn. White privilege absolutely is a thing. Now, when I started, I still had some bullshit ideas. It wasn't like I can get into the whole story of how I actually like woke up to shit, and it's funny enough. Chemo's the person who was responsible for that. But yeah, that's your privilege is absolutely a thing. The things you say and do matter more to other people than you think they do. And please, for the love of God, just lighten up and have fun. Like, enjoy this shit more. Yeah. Like, your body isn't always going to be as fast as it is now. Your passion won't always be as overtaking and strong as it is now. And all these things that you worry about are so important that are going to drag you down or embarrass you or embarrass your teacher or any of this other shit. It's not like that. Like, enjoy yourself, be yourself, show yourself in the circle, because who you are is worthy and you are needed. So
Diamond.
It's the same story. It's essentially the same shit I was saying to to any of the other footworkers. Like, it's to them, it's to me, it's to anybody who can hear my voice. You are desperately needed. even if you're not in the culture, even if you're not a dancer. Whatever gifts you have were given to you for a reason, so that you
Yes.
could share them, so that other people could find some measure of comfort in this super fucked up world that we have to navigate.
Yep.
So
Be
if
a
you are
circle.
listening, if you can hear these words, you matter and you are needed. So
Yep. That's facts.
I want to say thank you so much to Prince Jayron and Boo Dilla for having me on this amazing show. It is an honor beyond words to be able to take part in something that legends like Ant Brown have, and all these other great footworkers that came before me. I want to congratulate y'all on 89 episodes, and I cannot wait to celebrate your success with your 100th episode. That shit's gonna be a party. I can't wait to see Jay's round. I'm sure it's gonna be fire.
No,
That's crazy.
he said he gonna.
You gentlemen inspire me and are some of the most important people that I've come across. So thank you for giving this gift to me and everyone else. Y'all are amazing.
Man, thank you, brother.
Ron said he go footwork in some biking shorts.
You're funny.
I'll do it.
Oh my God! No, salute to you, bro, man. And we wanted to give you your flowers, man, while you still walking the soil. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Show your appreciation that you have. You've been really grinding out, man, and working hard.
Dedication and everything, yo. Staying consistent.
Yes, you know what I'm saying. So we wanted to make sure that we show our appreciation by having you on the show, and then other students that's that's new to the culture. You know what I mean? They like to hear things like that, especially when out of town.
They needed to hear this, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it's a lot of people. Like I said, this was a very important episode because it's a new generation which is starting, but you were the seed of that generation. And it's a lot of people that are now in that same position where they are in countries and they are in cities where they don't have access, or they don't have a Chicago footwork actually living in their city, and they're either taking classes online, but yet they're trying to start a community, or they're starting a chapter or whatever it is in their country or city. So they need to hear that dedication and that staying consistent, and also understanding that it is a journey and a process, which not is going to just take just quick. It may take a few years, it may take a few months, but yet at the end of the day, it's about having fun in that journey as well. So that will also take off some of the stress and worries of trying to be perfect or things like that. So it was just one of those things to be able to hear someone that has already been there, done that, and is still doing it to this day. So we definitely want to, give you that, man. I love you, brother, man, for real. And it's always a pleasure. Definitely looking forward to when you come to Chicago. So you already know.
Also,
This August, y'all.
Also,
Yeah.
too, Rob, give everybody your social media platforms, and also if you have anything you want to promote.
All right, so I am, man, I haven't been really active, super active lately, but I am on Instagram, Rob_Celtic, CELTIC, and Rob Celtic on Facebook. I think at some point, I'm going to bite that bullet and get a TikTok, just for, again, I support that next generation. I might put on some real weird bullshit on it, but, we'll see. Keep your eyes open. But currently, I am in talks to do another podcast with my brother, Professor Locke. We will be discussing groove as a means of life, as a means of making it through the world, and issues concerning the larger dance community. So please keep an eye open for that, as well as season 2 of Drinking and Dance at the End of the World. Both of those will probably be going out on Spotify as soon as we can get our act together. Otherwise, I'm in the process of writing a book. I'm almost done. I will let y'all know when that becomes a full thing. But yeah, Rob_Celtic on Instagram is probably the best way to reach me at this point.
Facts. And we gonna turn it over to our brother BTN announcements from your boy Crossfire.
Get it, Cross?
Y'all is hilarious as such, man. What's the word and such, everybody? This be your boy Crossfire, aka Mr. Watch and Witness. Track Attack is back once again, man. We got MC versus DJ Earl, man. That's gonna be a good one. So May 28th from 7 to 9. Well, it's gonna be extended to about 10 or 11 because it's gonna be awesome. So y'all don't want to miss that. Tune in on Zoom for that, and it will be via Facebook Live as well, too. Also, we got, I think June 11th will be the next Terra Dome event. Shout out my boy AGTSFC. Also, AG's doing a listening party for his new footwork album coming real soon, which will be released July 1st. So, be on the lookout for that. Shout out my boy AG for that. Also, the Havoc Picnic is August 14th, man. That shit gonna be all flame. I can't wait.
Please that.
I'll be there.
Oh yeah. Those in favor that want to bring my mac and cheese, say aye.
Oh yeah, we may
Alright.
get Crossfire mac and cheese for the Harry Picnic. He may be
Mac and cheese,
blessed
Crossfire.
meal.
Look, because everyone keeps saying that, everyone, hey, Boo Dizzle is my first witness. He tried my mac and cheese.
Fire.
Bro,
Hey, Chad's gonna be happy if you bring that mac and cheese because he.
Well,
he
most
always say we
of
need
creation is
sides.
vegan now, so I'm eating for 40 people myself. All right, I gotta represent creation with that mac and cheese.
Okay. So yeah, so those who want to bring my mac and cheese, this will be my first time of a lot of people eating. This is a family recipe. Like this ain't no bullshit Kraft macaroni and cheese. This is made from scratch. So yeah.
All right, it's going down there at this man.
Also, let's not forget, August 21st in Footwork Appreciation Month. You already know the lit Nick beat down. You already know. Shout out Beat Down. Shout out Clint. Shout out Corey. Shout out New Lessons as well too. Corey and Chad. Be on the lookout for that. Details coming real soon. I don't know when the TS picnic. I don't know the Goon Squad picnic. I don't know Create picnic. I can think of anything.
I'm about to say, Bud Billiken is the day before the Havoc picnic.
Oh yeah, I
We
also
get the
forgot.
Bud Billiken party.
Every third Friday of the month is the Footwork Cafe, so be sure to go to that as well too, man. Free promotion,
photos,
free
videos.
photo shoots, everything. So every third Friday of the month, be sure to come through. Shout out my boy Corey Films and shout out my boy Troy. Every third Friday of the month, man. So be sure to come through, support that, man. It's a great experience, man. So y'all don't want to miss that. Oh yeah, of course the cage every other Saturday. So be sure to support that. Also, I know I've been saying this, but I'm really trying to make this happen. It's coming real soon, man. We return to live session. I will be in full details of that. So just keep in tune with that. So other than that, back to y'all and such, cuz.
Indeed, and shout out to CFology too for they classes still going on. They got the raw classes. So sign up at CFology.com if y'all trying to take some online classes for that. So yeah, the raw classes is definitely a variety of different teachers in that. So definitely get some of them diamonds too for those online.
Big facts. Also, if y'all if y'all want to learn Chicago footwork, me and Jay, we are doing private still, so just hit us up. One-on-one privates. I'm only doing one-on-one privates. I ain't doing no classes. Uh, so hit me up ASAP. Also, I have classes on Tuesdays, but these are fitness classes, bang out workout fitness classes.
Fire.
Every Tuesday night in Matson, Illinois, and then every other Monday we have a dumbbell wars class, hit and strength training class. So if you looking to get your workout on, you trying to get fine for the summer, and for the guys who trying to get lit for the summer, then come on through and get your body right.
Trying to get lit.
Yeah, with us, you know what I'm saying? But on another note, we will return back with another special guest for next behind. So same time we'll be posting. Please keep an eye on our behind the name Instagram, behind the name Facebook pages as well. Make sure you keep an eye on my page for any updates for the show. You know what I'm saying? Any updates. It has been a couple of changes. So just make sure you keep an eye out. You know what I mean? But that's another note. That's another successful show. And we up out this piece.
Hey.
Peace.
It is y'all.
It's such.